Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to Four Guys in a Bar podcast, sponsored by Chiefs Blitz and presented by Dave Purdy with Supreme Lending. For your mortgage solutions, call Dave today at 816-405-5831. That's 816-405-5831 because he's pretty good. Here's your Chiefs Blitz host, Nick Athan, with Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, and Hense Todd.
Welcome back to the next edition of Four Guys in a Bar, presented by Chiefs Blitz. I'm your host, Nick Athan, my producer extraordinaire, Hense Todd, who is wearing these Stephon Diggs colors today, red and yellow. Find that interesting if anybody saw him walk up to the stadium last weekend. He was in Chiefs colors. Find that interesting. Hey, before we get started on the show, I want to introduce one of our primary sponsors, and that would be my good friend, Mr. Eric Haynes with the Eric Haynes Group. You can reach Eric on his cell at 816-729-3785, or you can reach him by email at esaleskc@gmail.com. He's part of the Sun West Real Estate Advisors team, part of Keller Williams, and he is my personal agent, one of my best friends, and he is helping me and Mrs. Chiefs Blitz right now find a house, which has been a interesting search, but I'm confident that we're going to get there. And once we do, I know Eric will handle everything from start to finish. He'll make sure the disclosures are in hand. He's going to make sure that everything in the house is what it needs to be. All the inspections get done. Make sure it's the right fit for us in every way. It checks all the boxes, and get us to closing and hand us our keys. And that's what you want. You got to find a trusted real estate advisor. So if you're in and around the Kansas City metropolitan area, give Eric Haynes a call with the Eric Haynes Group at 816-729-3785.
Proud sponsor of Chief Who.
And proud sponsor of Chiefs Who. And with that, we bring in Lou Montagna. The coach, Andre Tillman, is a little under the weather. I was out last Wednesday when my internet went out.
Better.
Yeah, I hope you feel better. I was out Wednesday. Appreciate you guys covering. If you live in the sticks and you're relying on internet as your only source of portal to the world, let me tell you, that was a very uneasy 24 hours for me, but got through it, ended up reading a book, and I slept a lot. So, but I didn't know what was going on, but appreciate you guys taking care of that for me. And we are here on Friday because on Sunday night, the Kansas City Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era will make their first road playoff game against the Buffalo Bills, who are dealing with injuries, expectations, and asking for volunteers to clear the snow in the stands ahead of Sunday night's game. Hey, it's $20 an hour and a personal message from Sean McDermott that runs on a reel on the video scoreboard thanking them. So, hey, I mean, I don't know. You can't get much more than that.
They don't put swag surf up there for the crew to get them fired up.
I don't think so. So it's listen, it looks like the weather's going to be partly cloudy. Probably game time is going to be in the high teens. Winds about 11 miles an hour out of the west. So I don't think it's going to really affect the windshield much, but it will affect the direction of how the ball is kicked for the kickers. But both have veteran kickers, and both of them are going to be just fine. You know, if they have to kick it in kind of wind element, and it's not any worse than we've seen in Kansas City. It's certainly not like going to be like kicking a brick, like Harrison Buckner had to last week, getting 4 field goals. And so, listen, it's a big game for the Chiefs. You know, we've never seen Mahomes on the road. It's a huge game for Josh Allen. The amount of pressure this kid must be under right now. He's got the entire Bills Mafia on his shoulders, demanding that they win this game. But injuries are going to be an issue. But as we get that said, you know, Lou and Hense, you know, just before we get to details, just from a 50,000-foot view, how do you see this game in the importance for the Chiefs and the importance for the Bills?
I look at it as the Bills have traded that pick, you know, for Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs. And ever since then, he's been hunting them. He's been in their nightmares. They sleep. They can't sleep. Bill Mafias can't eat right. They can't. Now they can't even get people to shovel the snow in the stadium. I'll put it like this. Everybody can't get close to 15. You can try to put everybody else on the scenario. You always can put a Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen. You know, even though you can bring Taylor Swift and try to outshine his light, he still is going to shine bright. But how I'm looking at this game is with all these key injuries I'm seeing and hearing that's coming out on Twitter and these reports, hey, ain't no way the Chiefs gonna lose this game. And I've been on that bandwagon ever since I was a childhood. I used to wear socks on my hands with the Chiefs helmets, everything, all the little Chiefs beads. And I ain't gonna never stop supporting this team. And this team is gonna take it all the way to Vegas. What you got to say, Lou?
Well, I mean, this is kind of legacies are made in the playoffs.
Right.
And, obviously Patrick has been building on his, and I think that he is to say he's highly motivated, I guess would be kind of a silly thing, but I think he is, again, the OMDB guy, the over my dead body. Are we going to go out and lose a game in the playoffs? That's just the way he operates. And that's how he plays. You heard about people before the game against Miami. He just had a different look in his eyes. And I don't know how you can see that, but evidently it does come through for people that are standing close to him. And this is just another one of those. And Josh Allen is still trying to get to that point, to start his legacy, I suppose. And that would be beating the guy he can't beat. And this is the one. So it's going to be high theater. There's a reason it's the last game of the weekend. Everybody can say it has to do with the Bills having to play on Monday, but forget that. They wanted to save the best for last. And like I said, legacies are built in the playoffs, and both those guys have reasons to different reasons. I mean, you got to get to 3 before you get to 7. But Josh, it's like, hey, if not now, when?
It's interesting you say that about the look in the eye, because Mike Tirico was on the Rich Eisen show earlier, and he said the same thing. He said there was a look in Patrick's eye that was different. It was playoff Patrick. The fact that he came out in those conditions and threw 3 straight passes. The first 2 weren't good ones, and the third one was just on the money to Travis Kelce. And that really, I think that took something out of the Dolphins. And I think this team is really, really focused. And you can watch, even in the 6-game winning streak with the Bills, you could see Allen before the game, and he didn't have that gleam in his eye, as Marty used to say, former head coach of the Chiefs, Marty Schottenheimer. And you didn't see it. And, what's not talked about a lot during the 6-game winning streak, the Kadarius Toney offsides, that's probably a loss. The pass that was tipped in the Dolphins game, that's probably intercepted. There are a lot of things at the Chargers game, kind of the same thing. There was a penalty on that last drive where the Chargers could have had the ball, and they were taking it to their defense with the Chargers backup quarterback. So there were opportunities for them to lose, but they got every crazy bounce. And there was a lot of concern. They knew that if they lost a single game, they're out of the playoffs. And had they lost any one of those games, we wouldn't be talking about the Chiefs and the Bills right now. We'd be talking about somebody else, probably at Arrowhead. So I think when you look at Patrick, you look at the way he played last week in those miserable conditions, and he had that kind of success, and the guys were all fired up, and the offense, defense, and special teams played basic mistake-free football. That tells me this team is ready to go. I'm with you, Hense. I don't think they're going to lose. We'll dive into the game a little bit deeper here in a minute, but I don't think they're going to lose. But you're going to know early. You're going to know before the game. You're going to know in that first quarter who has the edge. And I think the Chiefs are going to be proven to be the better team on the field. And if these injuries are correct, and it's not lip speak by McDermott, now once you say a player is out officially, they're out. They can't come back in. That's a rule. But some of the guys that were limited, including Diggs, that's they've lost 4 or 5 impactful guys, and that's a big problem. We saw that last week against Miami.
Yeah, most of them are on defense, and that doesn't even mention the guys they lost earlier. I mean, Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano,
Yep.
So it's like I said, I mean, it is a legacy thing, but when you just look at the specifics, to me, how Spags decides to deploy and how to attack when their 12 personnel is going to be, I think, kind of the way they operate, especially against the Chiefs. Knox and Kincaid, how, now does Spags put out 3 linebackers, which I don't think they typically like to do? Do they use Shamari Connor more? Is it, maybe covering one of those tight ends and just go with regular, Willie Gay and Bolton, and then Drew Tranquil come in and spell either one of those guys? I'm very interested to see how Spags kind of attacks that and how that kind of gets going.
I'm looking at it as, it doesn't matter, how I'm looking at it how they played at the Dolphins, right? I think they used more of their linebackers in that game. Going back and look at it, because I know they had Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil on the field at the same time.
The Dolphins don't have 2 dominant tight ends. I think that's the difference, is that you got Kincaid. I mean, these are primary receivers where, Smythe, they don't throw a lot of balls to the tight ends for Miami. So I think that's right. Kind of where the difference is going to come in.
But I don't feel like they got dominant tight ends. Anyway, ain't no Travis Kelce on that team. But again, looking at this team, man, I feel like the Chiefs will come out and be, use a defense. It's going to be like something that Spags is in his bag, man. If you look at it, I've never seen a defense use spinning safeties before the start of a snap, right? He called it against the Dolphins, right? What's the name? Edwards came down, the Reed came down, then they spent off, changed positions, and backed up. Confused Tua, then Tua threw the interception. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you're going to see Spags pulling a lot of tricks out of his head. And Spags is unbelievable in the playoffs since his career. Since he's with the Giants, since he was with Andy Reid and the Eagles, and over here at the Kansas City, like his. In the playoff Spags is unstoppable. So I don't see the Bills coming out and doing something totally different that's going to confuse this defense, because you gotta think about it, guys. They only scored 6 points in this second half when they won against the Chiefs. 6 points.
Yep.
6 points all game. I mean, 6 the whole second half. So when I feel like when the Chiefs come out and play this game, you're gonna see what they nailed in on last game. Then you're gonna see where they're gonna bring this game. So go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I think with Spags, I posted an article on ChiefsBlitz.com about it earlier today. I think you have to look at it like this. As much as we want to say this is Mahomes, versus Josh Allen, this is Steve Spagnuolo against Josh Allen, and that's the key to this football game. It doesn't matter, what Mahomes does. It's how effective the Chiefs defense are at limiting, what Josh Allen can do. If they can keep him in the pocket and remove his wheels and in an open space and move around the pocket and, get chunk yards like he did against the Steelers, he can try his fake slide, whatever it is. But that's the key to me. If they can stop him, they're in good shape. If he does not have his go-to guy, wide receiver, that's huge. If Diggs doesn't play, now he probably will, and he'll probably be limited, which means the snaps are going to be limited, and maybe they use him as a decoy. But to have him on the field is going to help Allen kind of do some things. They've got two great tight ends, so that they got Shakir. They got a strong running game. But to me, it's going to be Spags' ability to adjust early, be aggressive early, take some chances, and then put the throttle down if the Chiefs are able to get a lead of any kind, with Patrick Mahomes in the offense. But to me, again, this isn't Mahomes. It's Mahomes versus Allen for Josh, but it's not that way for Kansas City. If Spags calls a brilliant game, Derek Nottie seems to be the only casualty. Mike Pennell, I think, is going to have to play a really strong game, and he's that big-bodied thumper. The kid they got from the Raiders in the trade, is it Terrell? Farrell, sorry. Farrell played pretty good, I thought, against the Chargers, so he could be active for this game, and they can rotate those guys in and out.
Maybe we see Isaiah Buggs for the first time,
and maybe Isaiah Buggs too. It's a possibility. But the Chiefs will make a couple of moves prior to the game. But I watched all the guys today on the sports talk shows, and it's like all before the injury reports came out, it was like 90-10. And I think a Good Morning Football this morning, they kind of had some fun with the Chiefs, and then Peter Schrager straightened them all out, at the end of the broadcast with his 6-minute tirade about how great the Chiefs are and how loyal he is to him, and he's not going to pick against them versus his counterpart, who is a huge Bills fan, and made it about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, which didn't seem,
And he made it about Patrick Mahomes' brother,
wife. Yeah, Kyle Brandt. I didn't get that at all. Made no sense. Thought it was bad theater. If you're going to be a homer for the Bills, just be a homer and say, hey, I'm a homer. Schrager's a homer. He admits it. He's part of the Chiefs kingdom. So, but a lot of people aren't giving them credit, to get this far. And, they're saying that, hey, they didn't score enough points against the Dolphins. And Mahomes doesn't really have the weapons. And, everybody's doubting them. But I have to think, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, there's nothing I want more than to go on the road at Buffalo and prove I'm the best quarterback in the NFL, and go to Baltimore the next week and show them I'm still the best quarterback in the NFL. And I think that's the motivation for this team. And I don't think that's something that any of these pundits or any of these prognosticators are putting into their bag of predictions, is that how badly Patrick Mahomes wants to win a playoff game on the road to add to his legacy. Because right now, it's all he cares about, winning Super Bowls and securing his legacy. And you look at it here. I mean, you got Acho, and they have the better quarterback, and it's just kind of ridiculous. Eric Mangini, who could never hold a job in the NFL long enough to build anything, he's not high on Mahomes either. So I don't know. Give Dan Graziano credit at ESPN. He's the only one who's thinking with his brain, but everybody else, including Bart Scott, just doesn't understand what the team means to Patrick Mahomes.
Bart Scott's been anti-Chiefs his entire life, I think.
Entire career. And he didn't do anything in the NFL either.
He was pretty good. Yeah. He did have that one. What was it? What was the quote or the after game interview when the Jets won in New England? I think it was Sal Pal with them. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. That's like been his iconic moment. I can't think of what he said.
They keep giving him 15 minutes of fame.
How about Shady? How about Shady throwing a little shade at his old coach? I don't know if that relationship is quite where we thought it was.
No, they didn't have a good ending, but he got a Super Bowl ring, so he should be grateful.
Yeah, but the point is, and again, we go back to a few weeks ago, I think when I brought up, never underestimate the heart of a champion. They've got this like running through their veins. They've been there. They've done that. Now, that's not the only reason that they'll win, but the fact that their leader has been through there and gotten them through tougher games than this, just because this is the first time he's on the road in a playoff game. The guy's like 37-11 on the road in his career. It's like this is going to be some out of body experience for them to go play on the road. Hello.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look at in San Francisco last year.
Yeah.
He goes on the road against the 49ers in a game everybody picked the 49ers to win, and they had the best defense in the league at that point, and he puts up 43 points.
So and that's the other thing is again, a lot of the pundits and so forth, and the people that we speak of that are kind of, I don't want to say overlooking the Chiefs, or maybe just trying to kick them, not when they're down, but they're not quite what they were. They're not this explosive offensive team that can roll 30-40 on you without even thinking about it. But again, and I said it on Wednesday night, Nick. I don't know if you were able to watch the show, but I truly believe, and it took me a while to get here, but I truly believe they have the best defense playing football right now.
Yes. And
now think about that for a second.
You're right about that, but look at
we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. I know. And right now, 8 teams left. They have the best defense playing right now, and
the best quarterback. Even though he did what he, what like what Eric and wherever his name, Big Chan,
yeah.
over there saying that that Patrick Mahomes is the reason why the Chiefs is on the road. It's not him. Everybody that watched the games know why. We ain't here to throw anybody on the bus because we are the Super Bowl champs, just like Nick's jacket said. But before we get on subject, I want to see Lou's jersey. What is that you got on, Lou? Is that a jersey or what is that? What is that?
No, this is like one of my oldest pieces. There's
That's
no yellow in this.
Yeah.
There's no yellow in this, as you see. I've never been a big fan of the yellow in the Chiefs uniforms, but then this looks too much like the Cardinals or the Falcons.
I love it. I love it.
No, it's old school, man.
Part
Black
jersey, part sweatshirt. Yeah, we got the arrowheads on both sleeves. There's no Nike or Reebok or Adidas. I mean, this is really old. So,
yeah,
but look at it.
Bit of a pack rat, Hense. Okay.
I love it. But look at that. What everybody's saying is like nobody's giving it a Super Bowl champs. Like it's so much disrespect. Now, it's this disrespect that the Chiefs brought on themselves. You know what I mean? Is it disrespect
by winning? Yeah.
Yeah, we're not winning, but I'm talking about this.
Struggling too. Yeah. No.
Well, that's just it. It's like, when the Patriots were there was some chinks in the armor. That was like immediately, people are attacking them, or any team that's had sustained success is just going to bring out all the haters. You don't want to see them continue to win. So any little thing they think they can kind of get into and say, oh yeah, you look at this. Yeah. And Patrick Mahomes, this has been his worst season ever. Okay. Maybe it has been, but his worst season ever usually is better than most quarterbacks' best season that are playing right now. So yeah, I mean, if you just throw that statement out there to gather attention, or so-and-so said this is Patrick Mahomes' worst season. Okay, statistically, maybe it is, but the bottom line is when the games count and he has to make things happen, it gets done. You don't have any questions that you do about Lamar Jackson and his playoff record, and Josh Allen and the fact that he hasn't beat Patrick in the playoffs, and the other guys that, this guy's a rookie. He has Jordan Love's first year starting. So it's like all these different questions. And Brock Purdy, is he a system quarterback? All these questions. The only thing that they're saying about Mahomes is this has been his worst season statistically.
Yeah. Right.
He's still Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's
still Patrick Mahomes, still the Green Reaper, still the King, still the gunslinger. Well, what are people are saying in the comments, Nick? What did they say in the comments? What did they say?
We got John Harrison who said that Bernard's officially ruled out. He was walking around today in the walkthrough, but everybody could see he was limping. I agree with John. I don't think he's going to play. Marilee Trahan says the defense is definitely going to dominate. The Salt of the King, Vincent DeCarlos says just win, baby. And I think that Kareem, no way the Chiefs lose this game. I guarantee a good guy victory. And, I think everybody's kind of on the same page, but, I think what's interesting about this matchup overall too, with the expectations that the Bills have and the Chiefs have is, I think when you just take a look at what's at stake, what's the true bottom line here? Legacy versus legitimacy. Who's going to win out? And, again, all week, Patrick Mahomes, not as good. Patrick Mahomes had a rough year. It's all his fault. Patrick Mahomes this, Patrick Mahomes that. And then you get a few bright lights and say, he's still Patrick Mahomes. And the guy's lost all but 3 football games in the postseason. Think about that. 3.
Right.
He lost
31 and 3, right?
He lost to the Patriots because of the defense. He lost to the Bengals. Now that game was his fault in the second half, but they lost that game at the end of the first quarter by trying to throw a ball instead of giving it to McKinnon, who would have walked in. That one was on Mahomes. And in the Super Bowl with a depleted offensive line, the guy runs for what? 300 yards going sideline to sideline to try and get space with an offensive line was the completely toast in every way. And had they not had those 3 big drops, who knows? Maybe that's on top of his legacy too.
Yeah.
Those could have been 3 touchdowns.
And also, Nick, the Bills won't be in a playoff if it wasn't a toe offsides.
You're right.
You know, they won't be here. It won't be here. It won't be here. So, in the end of the day, you know, me looking at this Bills injury report, man. Now they saying Stephon Diggs' foot. He's limited in practice. This guy, Gabe Davis, the Chiefs killer that he was the Chiefs killer. He ain't gonna be he ain't gonna be in. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things to look into this injury report, guys, and what's coming up on this Sunday. But again, if Houston takes care of business in Baltimore, the Chiefs will be back in Kansas City. And you know what? The Bills be looking like, oh, you know what? Do you know what they be saying, Lou?
Oh, no. Go for it. There you go.
Yeah.
No, we suck again. You know what I mean? Because they have all these injuries. Then you over there poking the bear. You poking Patrick Mahomes. The whole media is out. Then you throwing shots at his wife, throwing shots at his brother right before a big game. Come on now. I don't know what that's like. That's like you're going to go talk to Muhammad Ali, talking trash to him before a big fight. Mike Tyson before a big fight. You know what I mean?
Tyson wasn't the best communicator. Let's be honest. Or a listener.
Yeah, he did it. He did it with these. Okay.
Yeah.
These were his communicators. Right?
Yeah.
So everybody calling this fight. So the Russian versus Rocky Balboa. You know what I mean? If you watch the Rocky movies,
okay.
you know what it is. So they calling Josh Allen the Russian,
so
and you know he's Drago, and Patrick Mahomes is Rocky. But everybody know what happened in the end. Rocky defeat the Russian.
Yeah, I mean, again,
he's supposed to be the big bad new thing, the big bad new pitcher, the big bad new quarterback. He supposed to. They trying to put this narrative on Josh Allen so bad. They moving games, they doing this, they changing playoff rules, they doing putting them on mat coverage when he ain't won anything. They trying to do all this narrative for this guy. And
one of the funniest things I heard this morning was they said, what if the game goes to overtime, the Bills go down and kick a field goal, and then the Chiefs get the ball and go down the field, score a touchdown. That would be like the ultimate, just kind of like, screw you. Thanks for changing the rules.
Yeah, he's 0-6 in overtime. Josh Allen is 0-6 in overtime, even with some of the rule changes they made, for the regular season game. So, it's absolutely ironic should it go that direction. But, the Bills, though, I mean, you put that list up of the injuries. That's 3 key guys on offense. Now, Gabe Davis has really struggled. He didn't catch a single pass in the game in December in Kansas City. And he hasn't really been the same. But, he's a guy who can get you a first down in a tough situation. But losing those 3 defenders and Stephon Diggs, who probably will play with a foot injury, if he's limited going into the game and not really able to practice today at all, no is right, because that's the go-to guy when Josh Allen needs to get a first down. Now, he may not get, 7 catches for 100 yards, but, he could be productive with 4 catches for, 30 yards or 35 yards if it moves the sticks. So, those are big injuries. Rapp is a terrific safety. Benford is a great corner. Balin Spector is just a really solid linebacker. So, they got some other injuries too, and guys that may not play, might be inactive. So, I don't think the list is done. But, it just puts another advantage in Kansas City, another advantage with Patrick Mahomes, because, what I've noticed about Sean McDermott in the 6 games, and watching how he coaches the defense in particular, he shows everything. He shows all the kind of blitzes. He shows, the schemes and the zone coverages, and it's nothing that's new. It's not anything that's going to surprise Patrick Mahomes. And on the flip side, in the offense, with their new offensive coordinator, they're doing the same thing against the Chiefs that they did, last weekend against Pittsburgh. So, I think that I think that's something to keep in mind. I think the ability for Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo to outcoach their counterparts is going to be significant.
Kareem's calling me out. Won't be that close, Lou. Good guys by at least 17. Look at that. Kareem bringing the heat.
I don't disagree with Kareem.
I'm telling you guys, you know what the Bills going to say. They all bet. Hey, somebody better give Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid extra security because that crowd is gonna be bad because when the Chiefs come in there and blow them out,
that's no joke.
You know what it is.
And I can't believe they didn't get a warning in the Steelers game. I mean, during a play in the end zone, somebody's getting pelted by a snowball. And then that immediately brought me back to I don't know, some game. I think it was there was still AstroTurf in Arrowhead, and the Broncos had the ball like in the shadows of their own goalposts.
Yeah.
And John Elway's telling the ref, "Hey, I can't hear. We can't," it's like, whereas now they basically tell you, delay a game, you got zeros on the clock, buddy, and they're asking the crowd to be quiet.
Yeah.
So if you're throwing snowballs, come on, man.
Now, what the NFL put a rule out there? If your team scores a touchdown, would that be a personal foul? If the fans,
no, it would have been a dead ball penalty of 15 yards. So Buffalo, so let's say a snowball goes and hits Travis Kelce in the end zone and it causes a drop. And if the referees see that, they have the ability to call a penalty. Now I'm sure that they're going to be warning them before the start of the game. I don't think you really need snowballs going at players because it's not impossible that one of those could be hurt, could hurt somebody. Yeah. And I think that, that's something that they'll have to be addressed. But listen, I've talked about the experience of Buffalo, and it's not a great one. And the fans are ruly, and that was the old days. That was the Jim Kelly fan base. Now they just don't know anything. They're just out there throwing snowballs. They don't care. They're not thinking about anything. They've been out there all day drinking beer and having a good time. And if the Chiefs start taking things, those snowballs are going to be flying all over the place in that end zone. And it's like the old days of playing in the Oakland Alameda Stadium against the Raiders. And Hank Stram would always say to his players, keep your helmets on. Marty used to say the same thing because you know what? They were throwing batteries. They were throwing sticks. They were throwing anything they could get their hands on at the Chiefs bench and the Chiefs players. So I suspect you're going to see a lot of helmets stay on the head on Sunday night.
Yeah. Again, give that crowd at very least, they've done it before. They hand the coach the mic and just say, hey, next time you throw a snowball, we're getting a flag. So let's not do that.
Yeah.
But they go nuts because there's so much snow in the stands because they're paying, kids $20 an hour to clear the place and they can't possibly get it done in time. Fans are just throwing snow up when they score. So then the next logical step is, hey, I'm just going to ball one up and pelt one down there. So I don't know. I hope it doesn't come into play, but it certainly seemed like in the Steelers game, they were letting them fly.
Yeah, and you can't put the snow on the field because the field has no heater. There's no heater underneath that turf.
It's like playing on concrete.
So they take it completely out of the stadium, up the stairs, and down the walkway and dump it. That's the only way they can do it.
They got conveyor belts, so it makes it a little bit easier. They had
ownership is cheap.
Some Yahoo with no shirt was getting on. They showed him getting on the conveyor belt, riding down it. So I don't know how much snow.
Now, do they know where the Chiefs fans are going to be sitting at and don't serve their side out?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of red. You're going to see a lot of red in the stands. I know a lot of people are going to this game. Nobody
stadium is going to fear the Chiefs Kingdom from showing up. I'm sorry about that. I don't see no NFL stadium. The Raiders, Oakland Raiders back in the day, Chiefs fans were still showing up. You know what I mean? When it was, everybody said it was the dark hole. Everybody was scared to go there. Chiefs fans were still showing up. And nobody ain't scared about nobody that light tables on fire, don't have two screws loose in their head, throwing themselves through the table with a with gasoline lit table. Nobody's scared of those snowballs. But what you should be want to do and grab a hold to and put them in your back pocket is Dave Purdy. Let's go ahead and get away into our next sponsor.
Let's talk about my good friend Dave Purdy with Supreme Lending. If you're looking for someone who's going to walk you through the loan process, Dave Purdy's your man. Give him a call on his cell at 816-405-5831. The reason you want to use Dave is because he's an expert in the field. He and I used to work together a few decades ago in the industry. So I know how it works, and he knows how it works now. A lot different back then. So he knows the best way for you to get the right mortgage for your family. He will make sure that your credit is intact. He'll make sure that the all the paperwork is done properly. Get your pre-approval level so you can go out and find your house, as he's doing right now with me and Mrs. Chiefs Blitz as we're going through that process. So if you want somebody you can trust, somebody who you can believe in, interest rates are coming down. And also remember, if you got those 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30% interest rates in your credit cards, even though you may have a 4 or 5% mortgage, it still might be a good time to maybe reevaluate, pay off some of that debt, and kind of redo your mortgage, maybe a little bit higher interest. But in the end, it might be a better situation for you overall to knock out that credit card debt once and for all. So if you need an expert, need someone you can trust, give my friend Dave Purdy a call at 816-405-5831.
We love Dave because he's what?
Pretty good.
He's pretty good.
And he's listening, I'm sure.
And now looking at this, guys, you know what I mean? Going into this playoff weekend, it's a lot of good teams that's going to be playing this weekend. You got the 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay versus I forgot what team they play. Detroit. We're playing Detroit. And then you got the Chiefs versus Bills and the Houston Texas versus Baltimore. Now, looking at the Houston Texas versus Baltimore game, that's this Saturday, right before the Chiefs game. So that's going to get a lot of views because everybody going to be rooting for C.J. Stroud in Kansas City. I hope so. Everybody rooting for C.J. Stroud to come to Kansas City, and
that would be
Chiefs,
nice.
and then the Chiefs would give them more of a effort. Like, hey, we win this game, we coming back to Kansas City. You know what I mean? So
back for the Arrowhead
tall order.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a tall order. For that to happen. But listen, CJ Stroud has been
given Sunday
the best young quarterback to come out of the draft in a while, who's proven it. He doesn't care. He doesn't know any better. He's a man of faith. He works hard. He makes the incredible look easy. And he's doing it with, limited resources. He's got, Singletary, who's a wily veteran, just playing out of his mind. And, then you got, one wide receiver, basically.
Collins. Yeah.
Collins is pretty darn good. I take him on the Chiefs roster any day of the week.
Is he pretty good, though?
He's pretty good, though. And, they've got a defense that's just flying around. And listen, the Ravens have all the pressure on them. They have everything to lose. They were one and done when the Titans came in and smashed them in the mouth a few years ago when they were the number 1 seed. Lamar Jackson proved that he wasn't a leader then. He proved that he wasn't a quarterback who could throw the ball. Now, to his credit, and no one's been harder on him than I have, because I still don't think you can win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as your starting quarterback. He played some really good teams down the stretch and made a lot of plays standing in the pocket. And I don't know if that was a result of he's that good, or defense didn't think he could do it, or, there were some breakdowns defensively or whatever it was, but he did it. I thought his game against the Rams was impressive. One of the best games I've ever seen him play. He made the plays down the stretch, and, that's what they need. If he is a good pocket passer on Saturday, I don't think the Texans defense can do enough to stop him. But I do think that it's going to be a game. And if for somehow the Texans do what they did in Kansas City a few years ago and score a bunch of points, right away, I don't think the Ravens could come back from that. Now, I don't see that happening, but we just don't know what to expect from Houston. So it's hard for me to, my gut, my heart wants me to pick Houston to win. My gut tells me it's going to be Baltimore. For the upset to happen, Lamar Jackson is going to have to play like he did a few years ago against the Titans. And I'm just not quite there yet.
And not a lot of people ain't giving Houston credit. Their defense have been playing lights out.
Yes. So
in the last 6 weeks of the season and going into the playoffs. So and who's their head coach? The 49ers old defensive coordinator. So but I've seen it's gonna be two upsets, guys. It's gonna be the Baltimore Ravens losing to the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers beating the 49ers.
So you think both 1 seeds are going down?
You think both 1 seeds are going down?
I think they both going down because the football guys are opening up the door for Super Bowl I.
He's got the crystal ball back out. Got the crystal ball back out.
Super Bowl I is going to be playing in Vegas all over again, but it's going to be the new era. Patrick Mahomes versus Jordan Love.
Man, that'd be sweet.
So better chance of winning Houston and Baltimore or Green Bay in San Francisco?
I say Houston and Baltimore got a better chance.
Really?
Yes, because that 49ers offense, they got Christian McCaffrey, they got the good offensive line, they got a good runner, they got a good wide receiver core, great tight end, and shouts, that coaches over there and he can coach his butt off now. I give him that. His team always been there in the end. So I say he's a young Andy Reid in the making. I would say.
All right, but I agree with this. I agree with you.
Go ahead. Well, it's been all over everywhere that Lamar Jackson in his playoff games, goose eggs in every first quarter. Even the game they won in Tennessee, they were down 10-0. So I think the recipe for a Houston win, I think, would be is if they can kind of weather that initial storm, if there is one, be close at halftime, maybe just a little bit ahead or just maybe a field goal behind. Now all of a sudden all that stuff starts creeping into the psyche of the Ravens, and it's like, wait, hey, are we really this good? Can we stop these guys? Whatever it is, because if they don't get out to a lead early and kind of, I guess, reaffirm that they are the number 1 seed and they believe it themselves that, hey, we are the best team in the AFC, then all bets are off. Then I think CJ Stroud just gained so much, even more confidence than he already has. And like you said, hence, DeMeco Ryans is going to have a plan for that offense. And then it's anybody's ball game. And I think they do have a shot. On the other side, it just seems like Shanahan's got LaFleur's number. He had it. I mean, he had it again, and that was going against Aaron Rodgers. And all due respect is good, how good Jordan Love has been playing. This is a tall order. Now, and one thing that I heard today also, and again, it makes sense. Brock Purdy's the only quarterback left that wasn't a first round pick. But again, he's got that chip on his shoulder. Where not that he has to prove anybody that he belongs, but he kind of has to prove that he belongs. They got to win a couple more games, get back to the championship game, be healthy in that championship game, and take him on to the Super Bowl. So I'm with you. I think Houston's got the better chance of the two. And I think it's more so because of the I guess the playoff woes that the Ravens have had. Now this is a totally different team, and maybe they are better offensively, and Lamar's better in the pocket. But again, his brain's going to go there if the longer the game goes on, and they're not scoring a ton of points.
All right, so let's pick. Let's go ahead. Let's pick the first game.
All right, Houston versus Baltimore. as we said all this, who are you taking, Nick?
Put your name on it.
All right, I'm going to put my name on it. This is what I think. I think the Ravens, who have 20 free agents on this roster, they went all in this year. If for some reason the Texans are in this game in the fourth quarter, whether they're down by 3, down by 7, and have the ball, I think that doubt and that pressure is going to mount. So I'm going to do it with about a 50.5 assurance that it happens. I'm going to pick the Texans with the upset just because I think DeMarco Ryan has done an incredible job in 1 year of molding this team into a team that could be above 500, a team that can win a division, and now a team that can win a playoff game at home. And they go against the big bad boys of Baltimore, who people respect, but you know what? He's not going to fear them, and none of his players are because they don't know any better. They're too young. So with that, I'm going to give the Texans a very slight edge.
So at some point, Saturday morning, against the spread picks will come out. I think I ended up 3-3 last week. Started out pretty hot, but then it didn't go well on Monday actually. So
we got a little bit of breaking news. Andy Reid just announced that Raheem Morris, Sky Moore, and Nadi is listed as out in this week's game.
Yep.
So go ahead, Lou.
So who's that? Morris?
Yeah, Wanye Morris, Sky Moore, and Derek Nadi will all be out.
Okay.
All three things the Chiefs can overcome.
Okay. So I think my early selection, is still going to be Baltimore. I think that I guess the narrative that Houston's playing with house money and all this other stuff. I mean, it's hard to say that. I mean, these players play. They're out. I mean, I don't think they're thinking like, well, geez, we're not supposed to be here. They are playing loose, which is good, and that gives them every bit of chance. And I think they do have a chance to win the game. But I think ultimately Baltimore wins, and it's fairly tight. I mean, I don't think it'll be a blowout by any stretch, but I think Baltimore ends up winning.
Me looking at it, I'm looking at Houston and Baltimore, and I'm seeing Lamar Jackson. I'm seeing that Baltimore team. I'm seeing that all these upcoming free agents that's going to be, off their roster. So they in the win now mode, and that win now mode is not going to help this year. I feel like Houston is going to come in here and take this game by a touchdown. In the end, late drive by the CJ Stroud. And CJ Stroud now hit after this game, after he beat Baltimore. Now his name's going to be thrown in the mix of the rest of the quarterbacks that can possibly take down Patrick Mahomes' throne. But other than that, I see Baltimore taking this game, guys. Not Baltimore, but Houston taking this game by a touchdown. Ooh, so we're gonna go to Green Bay versus 49ers.
Okay, let's be honest. I don't think when they were 5-6 and they had beaten the Chiefs to go to 6-6 that we felt the Green Bay Packers were a team that was not only going to make the playoffs but win a playoff game because they just manhandled the Cowboys, and I loved every minute of it. As you all know, I was born in Wisconsin. The Packers are my second favorite team, and I always root for them. I just think that Brock Purdy has a better cast around him, has a better defense. If all the pieces are there, left tackle, 2 wide receivers, running back, tight end, if all those pieces are on the field, Brock Purdy should have a pretty easy time moving the football. However, I think the Dallas Cowboys defense was pretty good. They just got exposed. And if for somehow he can channel that Packers Bart Starr lore from the past, they got a chance. But I think it's going to be San Francisco. I'm going to go with the 49ers to win at home.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this game is close. You can say rest versus rust or whatever, but they've had some injuries on San Francisco's side. McCaffrey, a little nagging calf. Williams has been in and out of the lineup during the course of the year. They haven't played in a few weeks. So, and like I said, I think Shanahan just has these guys' number, and it's just going to continue. And Purdy does not have to play a perfect game for them to win, where Jordan Love would probably have to put up almost an identical performance that he put up against Dallas. They'd even be in the game. So I'm going to go San Francisco pretty easy here.
Whoa. I'm taking Jordan Love, man. It's gonna be the dethrone of the up and young first year starters in Jordan Love, because he's not a new here, like he's not a rookie, but it is mainly his rookie season, as you want to like to say that. So I feel like Jordan, it's gonna be the weekend, Saturdays of the rookies knocking off the number ones. But I feel like Green Bay is going to come and take this game, and I feel like they'll win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Merrily and Kareem are going with the Packers as well.
Wow.
Okay.
I guess it's upset weekend. Well, as we move into Sunday.
Now we move it into Sunday. We got the Buccaneers versus the Lions. Now, Baker Mayfield has renamed himself because the contract year is undefeated, as we seen around the NFL this year. And he's going against Jared Goff in them. Now, looking at this game, who you got taking this game, Lou?
Detroit. No questions asked. I don't, Tampa's been a good team, not a great team. The game against Philadelphia, if you just look at that game and say, oh, that's who they are. Philadelphia was in disarray. You could tell on the sideline, you could tell before the game. I mean, even the announcers were saying that they didn't like their body language. This is a playoff game, and they have looked like that almost the entire month of December going into January. So I don't know if I put a lot of stock in beating the Eagles. I think just about any other playoff team would have beat the Eagles that week. So, and Detroit, I think, has been a much tougher team. You can say what you want about Bulls. They do have a lot of experience. It's not that young of a team, because I think that's kind of the narrative out there, but they've got a lot of people from that Super Bowl winning team that are still there, especially on the defensive side of the ball, plus the 2 wide receivers, 1 or 2 of the linemen. So that I'm not worried about. I'm just seeing Baker going into that situation. He, again, I think, just to repeat myself, he's going to have an even better game than he had Monday against Tampa. I don't see it happen, and I think Detroit wins this one.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, I got the Lions and the Chiefs in Super Bowl 58, so I'm not gonna get off the bandwagon now. I just think Detroit, just for the fan base to be able to get to an NFC Championship game. I love their head coach. I love Campbell. I love their quarterback. I love their line. I love the way they play defense. They play football the right way. And when you have a team that plays football the right way, it's hard to root against them. And I just think the Lions are going to take care of Baker Mayfield. And I think Baker has earned himself a big payday, be a perfect fit for a team like the Raiders. He can pretty much go anywhere he wants to, win or lose this football game, because he's turned himself into a decent game manager. And that's what you want from the quarterback position these days. If you can't have a flashy star, you get a guy that can manage the football game. So I'm going to Detroit Lions here I think they're going to put up plus 30 points in their win over the Tampa Bay Bucks.
I take Detroit Lions going to take that one too, because I think it's going to come down to Green Bay and the Lions in the NFC Championship. Now, looking at this other game, you got the Chiefs versus
the other game.
This other game.
This other game. Everybody
doesn't mean that much.
Everybody want to say it's a big story because Patrick Mahomes on the road. Patrick Mahomes been running on the road in the AFC West, on the road in a regular season. It doesn't matter. It's still a road game. But we looking at this game, this matchup here. We got Josh Allen, aka Dollar Store Superman, or you can find him on the thrift store out, Broken Down Superman, where they want to call him. Then you have Patrick Mahomes, the Soul Taker, the Green Reaper himself, taking on the Buffalo Bills. everybody know here. Everybody know what's going to happen. The Chiefs by 82 points.
Yeah.
You like that number 82? What's the significance? You say that a lot. Why 82?
X factor, huh?
Okay.
All
There
right.
you go.
We are the X Factor.
The human joystick. All right.
Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, I don't know that it'll be 82. Might be a little bit smaller margin than that. But going back to what I said earlier in the show, I'm very interested to see how on defense the Chiefs go up against the two tight ends, because I think given the fact that Diggs has been very quiet the last half of the season, and maybe even going back further into the season, I don't know if he's hurt, what the deal is. But like Nick said, Josh is still going to look for him on big plays, third downs especially. You don't see too many deep shots. I think the first one that he hit in like 6 weeks was against Miami, the regular season game, and I didn't look like they were on the same page there. So really, I think the tight ends is going to be where they shut this down, and then also trying to keep Josh from making huge plays with his legs. So I don't think that I'm not going to sit here and say the Chiefs offense is fixed or whatever term you want to use, but I think they figured out what the best way it is for them to operate, to possess the ball, to get into the red zone. Hopefully they score more touchdowns rather than field goals this week. But I think they've kind of figured out how this team has to play to move the ball and win a game. So I'll say Chiefs 27, Bills 20.
Interesting. The Chiefs are going to win this football game. I don't think it's a matter of how they get it done or why they get it done or what happened or what didn't happen. The Chiefs are the best football team in this matchup. They have the experience. Patrick Mahomes is not afraid to go on the road. He's played in some really tough environments. And I look at two games in particular in his past. I already mentioned the 49ers game, but the game at Tampa when everybody against Brady and they just came out firing. The Chiefs have a similar feel to them right now. They think they know that what's going to happen Sunday. They know what to do in certain situations. They've been there, done that. And I think the experience is really big. And I think McDermott, is not a coach that can do enough against Andy Reid in the postseason. I don't think he can match wits against him to where it's a fair fight. And I love Josh Allen. I said this before, and I kind of got crucified. If the Chiefs weren't in the playoffs, I'd certainly like for their fans to win a Super Bowl. I think it'd be great for them because it was 50 years without me. But at the end of the day, it's not going to happen this year, and it may not happen next year. If the Chiefs win this football game, Josh Allen and the Bills.
When they win this football game, the Bills and Josh Allen are going to have to do a redo. They're going to have to blow this thing up, and they're going to have to start from scratch. And it's like everybody else that built their team to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, they built and they have done their best to build a team to beat the Chiefs. I will give them credit for that because they understand it. None of the other teams in the AFC West get it, but they have tried to build a team. But you got to build a team that the Chiefs can't beat, and that's how you win. And the Bills don't have a team that the Chiefs can't beat. If they can lose by 3 points on the Tony error, no Pacheco, no Donovan Smith. And their linebacker as well. Drew Tranquil. Yeah. You put those three guys in that game, Chiefs win in that football game. One of those three guys would have made a play. The pressure from Von Miller at the end of the game, that probably wouldn't have happened with Donovan Smith. At least the minimum, he would have held him. So there are a lot of things that you look at how close the Chiefs were to winning that football game and how what happened afterwards where they still kind of went down. And then in the Bengals game, they found themselves, and it reiterated that fact against the Miami Dolphins. So Kansas City is going to put up 34 points. The Bills are going to manage 17 with 7 of those coming in the last minute in the fourth quarter.
So it'll be over by what, like half?
You'll see the Chiefs starters resting in the fourth
you
quarter.
start seeing the snowballs coming.
And the snowballs will be flying. And people will be home. People will be home in time to catch the 9 o'clock news.
Bigger question: Does Haley Steinfeld show up? Does she sit with Taylor Swift?
I don't know. There is a rumor that Jason Kelce and his wife will be there with Kelsey's parents and the Swifties.
Sweet.
And that'll be fun to watch. And maybe they'll do the sway thing, do a little swag out there.
I don't think they'll have to bring. Somebody would have Jason would have to bring like a boom box, and they play it in their suite. I don't think the PA in Buffalo is going to cooperate with that one.
So Nick, what are the people saying? Where everybody sending in the chat? What's their
all right? Well, we got a lot of comments. Kareem says it's going to be the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead as usual. Marilee likes the Packers. So does Kareem. Marilee just says the Chiefs all the way. John Harrison mentioned it'll be a replay of 2020 COVID game. A lot of running the ball, 26-17. I totally agree. And I think that, you look at this game. Let's see, I'm even getting what's this? Stop saying what. I care about you. Okay, I care about you too, buddy. So sorry if I said if instead of when. But he loves the pick, so that's all that matters in the end. I got it right. Listen, we appreciate all the comments. It's going to be fun to watch. I don't have any angst about this game. I have also, you guys know I'm very superstitious, right? I drink, this is my Friday mug. I have a Sunday mug. I found an old hoodie that I had never worn before, and I decided to wear it for the Bengals game. And I had 2 shirts underneath it, my Len Dawson shirt and my Chiefs logo shirt, which I love. So I've worn those now, and we have undefeated against Cincinnati, against the Los Angeles Chargers, and against the Miami Dolphins. I will be wearing that again on Sunday very confidently.
So
but that is the reason why
when you go 2 shirts,
going to win
2 shirts and the hoodie on top, at any point do you start peeling them off? Would something have to happen in the game for you to pull one off?
Okay, this is what I did in Super Bowl 4. I wore my Patrick Mahomes jersey because I was down there for the week in Miami before the game. I didn't go to the game because the ticket prices were crazy, but I went to the game, and so I had my Patrick Mahomes jersey on, and I took it off, and I put on my Len Dawson shirt, and I had just lost my father about a year before this, and I looked up and said, "Dad, we're going to win this football game," and we won the football game. So that's about the only time I've changed gears.
Was that like right before the Wasp play?
Yeah, well, no, it was halftime. I was a little concerned at halftime, and I thought, this isn't going to be the year. I'm going to have to cry again. I mean, I sobbed after the Patriots beat the Chiefs in that playoff game. I felt horrible, and I felt like it's never going to happen again.
When I sobbed in that game, when they picked off the pass, the Chiefs intercepted, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. And I just seriously, and then also there's a flag on the play. And like, oh, the Patriots must have been holding, right? No, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. That was probably the worst F tirade I've ever come out of my mouth with my then I think 4-year-old waking up about 11:30 and said, "Daddy, why are you so mad?" And it's just like I had no words for him. I couldn't explain it. He just doesn't understand it. Now he gets it, but I don't cuss around him anymore because we all know the magic words that kids like to repeat.
Hell yeah.
And Mrs. Chiefs Blitz is not like that. So I have to be reserved, but I will have a few shouts and being upset a little bit here and there, but for the most part, my arms will be raised and we'll get ready for the AFC title game. Wherever it may
Bills, be. And to all the Bill fans, you know what you get ready to say when you think you're about to win?
Oh no, we suck again.
Y'all suck again. I don't care about the snowballs. Like I said, the Chiefs are going to take this game. We're going to go out on a victory. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors again before we close out.
Let's do it.
So again, guys, get ready for a great victory. Enjoy this weekend. Enjoy everything that you have going on because it's going to be a heck of a weekend. Go ahead.
Go Texans.
Go Texans.
Yeah, go Texans. Go ahead, Nick.
All right. So I want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Dave Purdy with Supreme. You can reach Dave at 816-405-5831 if you're looking for someone that you can trust. You can evaluate your mortgage experience, where you stand, make sure the financials in order, make sure he gets you the best interest rate, but even further, find the best plan that fits your current situation, and that's Dave Purdy. So give him a call at 816-405-5831. We love Dave because he is
pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right, and we move on to Mr. Eric Haynes with the Eric Haynes Group. You can reach Eric at 816-729-3785 or esaleskc@gmail.com. Right now, he is my realtor of choice. He is helping me and Mrs. Chiefs Blitz find a house out here in the sticks. And we have been looking, and he's been very patient. He's gotten us disclosures. He's making sure that we take a look at every aspect of the house and make sure we're in a situation where this is the right fit for us. When you're looking for a house, it can be very stressful. You need someone you can trust, somebody who's an expert, and someone who's not afraid to say, you know what, guys, this isn't the house for you. That's Eric Haynes, 816-729-3785.
Proud sponsor of Chief Who?
Proud sponsor. I want to shout out one more comment to John Harrison. I cried when they beat the Titans to go to Super Bowl 54, and I cried after Damon Williams' run because I knew they'd win the Super Bowl in my lifetime. John, I'm with you, pal. Tears were flowing for sure. That was great. That call to Sammy. I probably rewind that singular play of that bomb to Sammy Watkins and the fans yelling Sammy was just one of the most bone-chilling moments I've ever experienced as a Chiefs fan. And when Damian made that run, it was like 50 years of just pain and suffering. Didn't matter about the Colts loss. It didn't matter about anything else that had happened. The Titans lost. All the disappointments in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. It just didn't matter. All that had been washed away. And we're in the time of our life right now, so we should just enjoy it.
I got to enjoy, man. Last year, Super Bowl, I was there in person, covering the Super Bowl, and was in the stadium, and I seen when they scored a touchdown again. I walked out, said, "This is not our day." You hear the Eagle chant, and you can hear it all the way outside the stadium. It was so loud. Now that's one thing I would say. That chant was so irritating my soul. I went into the newsroom. I was like, we're going to lose this game. And, Nick, you worked media before, so you know that you cannot cheer in the media room. You cannot do all this. You can't be loud. But you know me. I was loud. Everybody was turning around looking at me. I was loud. I was like, let's go. I forgot all about that. I was like, we coming back. I ran back into the stadium. I seen all the confetti going everywhere. The Chiefs fans was crying, hugging each other. That was a special moment that I would never, ever, ever forget. Coming across this Patrick Mahomes, and he come across Brittany in the hallway, and she looked right into the camera. She was like, "How about those Chiefs that told you, baby, we coming back?" I said, "Man, it was nothing but joy." What's her name was crying. His daughter, I don't know her name. Keep on forgetting her name, but Patrick Mahomes' daughter was crying, and seeing Frank Clark at the podium, and it was amazing.
That was heartfelt, man.
It was heartbreaking. That was one of the greatest memories I have. But we're gonna have a greater memory.
You got to see it, man.
When we see
I
the
still
Chiefs.
have that on my bucket list. I have not seen the Chiefs in a Super Bowl.
John, I have a question for John. John, is that your real picture there? Is that you?
Is that your real picture? I don't think so. It's like a Grand Theft Auto picture. I don't think that's a real picture.
If it is, I'm afraid.
Nick, go ahead and give a shout out to everybody that commented, all the people.
I want to thank John Harrison, Kareem, Marilee Trahan, the Salsa King. We appreciate you guys very much. Obviously, Salsa King meaning Vincent DiCarlo. Vincent, send us some bottles, will you? We can do some giveaways or something like that. And John just said no, that's not his picture. So we all feel a little bit better.
Thanks for clearing that up, John. That's cool.
We appreciate the love. You can reach us ChiefsBlitz.com, on our website. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel at Chiefs Blitz. At Facebook, it's at Chiefs Blitz. So it's pretty much at Chiefs Blitz everywhere. And we'll be back Sunday. We'll do a Spaces show after the Chiefs defeat the Bills, and we'll be back at it Monday. And we'll break down the Chiefs' upcoming opponent for next weekend. And we want to keep this train moving. This is the time of our lives. If you're a Chiefs fan, we get to see something that we never thought we'd see, and that's Patrick Mahomes on the road. And I can tell you he's ready for it. And this Chiefs fan, who generally has a pretty good sense and feel about things, I think the Chiefs got this, and we're going to have a lot of fun on Sunday night and Monday.
Again, saying all your prayers to Coach Dre. He's clogged up with peanut butter right now.
Yeah.
So,
Peanut butter. He's got the chip out.
Get that jar away from him, man.
So with that said, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys Monday at noon. Sunday on Spaces and Monday at noon. So with that said, go Chiefs!
Peace out, everybody. Thank you.
Texans.